Kia ora everybody. I'm going to read you approximately 10 to 12 minutes of all new poems. The nice thing about events like this is it's a lovely opportunity to try things out. So some might not land, and then I'll get rid of them. An emergence. A cricket is walking up the wall and onto the painting by my father, who is known more for his pottery, but in this case a soft focus oil of a bedside with a sheet and a lamp and a book, which is said to be the book my mother wrote, the clue being the blurry gold badge about sports, as she of course got her start in sports journalism. But this book was more of a poem, and so I remember enjoying it in the 90s, and when the cricket reached the top of the canvas, it flew or leapt onto my pillow, or I captured it in an empty glass, or I took the glass outside, or I left the glass uncovered. Sex ed. When I ran fast, they said, "Hey bro, you're fast." They'd laugh. They weren't mean. They had a lot of friends, wept freely, weren't ashamed except of their fathers, and they put their fists through windows. Understandable. When they scratched their hearts into scattered pulpits, I licked their mark like a nun. Manifest land. Build a deck on your roof. Spread your legs on the bus. Wear a backpack in a crowd, or a big hat at the movies. Bring your pointiest elbows. Rename trees and remove them. Cut those useless giants down. Put a lamb. Visit towns with blood you can't see. Fill them up with blood you can. Pour demolished stadiums into harbours. Pop new stadiums on top. Olé, 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 olé. Oh, I've forgotten why I came into this room. How embarrassing. Roots. She grew up on a farm, you see, where there simply were no trees. And everyone had horses. Her mother and her father, her brothers, they all had horses. And her friends at school, and even the shearers, she believes they had horses too. And her grandmothers, and her grandfathers, well, they had horses of a kind you don't see anymore. That's 3 generations, right there. So one must empathise when she speaks of the bush with a shiver, for she needs to be able to see the land on which her ancestral horses stand, and everyone is so friendly here, and she has worked very hard. She never got any handouts. She deserves her horses, and that mountain. She deserves that mountain too. Images. We're on gardening detail. We're on pruning. We mind the porcupines. We mind scorpions. Other mornings, snakes, wasps. We're on pruning. We prune the suckers. We are secret police, pruning. We turn up at the door of a tendril and say, "You, come." And we dispatch them there in front of all the other fronds. It's August 2001 and dawn on the kibbutz. The other gardeners have discovered, once again, that local Bedouins have swiped the copper caps off the irrigation system, precious geysers jagging up amongst parched jojoba. We jump into the tractors. We pull them into gear. The mother is speaking to her chairs. The mother was born in a large city in 1956. The father was born in a small town in 1957. They met each other in a third place in 1979. They got married in a large city in 1980. They moved together to the small town in 1981. Their first child was born there in 1982. Their second child was born there in 1984. Their third child was born there in 1986. The mother's uncle died in 1988. He left her 6 good chairs. Over a period, there are approximately 2 cats, 3 mice, 4 rats, 5 fish, 6 birds, and 1 dog. By 2003, the mother and father have split up. By 2004, all the animals have died. By 2005, all the children have moved out, and the mother has the 6 chairs recovered. It was expensive, but, she argues, it has been such a long time. And the first child gets a pet. He phones the mother to tell her. He says how he talks with the pet and how nice it feels. The mother says, well, I talk to my chairs, so yeah, I understand, yeah, I get it. I say, hello, chairs. I love you, chairs. You are so beautiful, chairs. And the first child says, good, Ma, that's good. Well, talk to you soon. Okay. Bye, hun, she says. And they hang up. And this one's a new wish poem that our esteemed poet laureate generously published on the spin-off last year. Coping poem. She has just said, lean in. She said, oh God, I was about to say, lean in. And so by accident, she has said it. They were huddled at a small, uncomplicated table. They were literally leaning in. Oh God, she said. Lean in, he said. Let's just lean in. Let's go ahead and lean in. And then keep on leaning in, he continued, till we're all completely prone. Then just stay there for a while, seriously, she added. Yes, they both agreed. They laughed and they agreed. They agreed that in this pair of our Maud 2022, they might as well lean in and right on through and out the other side, because what else? They sighed. Oh God, she said. And they leaned back into their complex seats. And they leaned hard and effective, and they dug in too, and kept their soils damp. And they leaned with thickened atmospheres, and with brows cocked all the way up. And in smart shoes, they leaned in and in. They leaned all the way into the linoleum. They did, and then stayed there for a while. Yes. Collections. Schubert died at 32. It is burned into her brain. Chopin died at 39, and that is burned into mine. We know things and are friends. Sati ate only white food. I heard that somewhere. We are outfitting ourselves for such brilliant graves. Beethoven died at 56, according to a poem, and though the poem was a fantasy, I've no desire to fact-check it. We are friends, and the truth is a television at the bottom of a lake. Sati ate only white food. He knew many glamorous Parisians. We are many glamorous Parisians. We hold hands. We go la, la, la. On Apophenia. Hello, I said. Table for one. And we're seated by a window. I ordered a chicken thing and a beer, and I took out my book, and then a man came into the restaurant. Hello, he said. Table for one. And we're seated by another window. He ordered a beer and a chicken thing, different to my chicken thing, and he took out his book. I sipped my beer and thumbed my book, and he sipped his beer and read his, and I thought, there are two men dining, reading alone in this small restaurant. I thought, how about that? And then a third man walked into the restaurant. Hello, he said, table for one. And we're seated beside the remaining window. He ordered a beer and a chicken thing that may have been the same as my chicken thing, or the second man's chicken thing, or it may have been its own chicken thing. And he took out his book. All of us are now reading our books, and we are all sipping our beers, and we are all waiting for our chicken things. Mine arrives first. The second man's arrives second. The third man continues to read his book and sip his beer, and then his arrives too. The third man eats quickly and leaves. He says, that was delicious, thanks, and he leaves. The second man finishes second. He says, thank you, that was delicious, and he leaves. In my book, the husband was thought to have died, but then showed up in the morning and made breakfast. I finish my meal. I say, delicious, thank you. And on the way home, see 3 white swans alight onto the cab of a burning yellow ute, and the hum gets louder and louder. So during this Booktown festival, one of the things I'm doing is the pop-up Gloria installation around the back of the hall. And on Friday, some of the local rainbow youth from the high schools came and did some poetry workshops there, which was really great. And one of the things I really kind of talked about with them was that poetry doesn't have to make sense. It can just be silly and just kind of fun and just like feel good. And I shared this little poem with them. Costume hire. Come on, baby, fight my ire. I'm indoors, you're a lit cigarette. Come on, lady, bite my choir. Make them pure with your little threat. Come on, maybe kites for hire. A full day, now omelette. Oh, this one's actually a bit older, but whatever. Gut health. Blueberries in the morning for McDonald's for lunch. Blueberries in the morning for a grape of an evening. Blueberries in the morning for a well-dusted lung. Blueberries in the morning for a backroom love. Blueberries in the morning for ballet slipper-shaped shadows will-o'-the-wisping in my foot. Blueberries in the morning for monster trucks reversing its speed towards my heart, and blueberries in the morning for tire tracks sizzling in my veins, and blueberries in the morning for all the tiny beads that bud on my skin, but I fear the gym see my pillow. Blueberries in the morning for a fat salamander wrapped around my chest who laughs when I speak, licks its lips when I eat, and slides its tail up my ass when I sleep. I take blueberries in the morning. And then finally, a little kind of slightly edited found poem. When I used to live in Featherston, I worked for a time at King Street Artworks up in Masterton, a wonderful community art space. And on Wednesdays, I think, we had staff meetings, and we'd give little reports. A lot of the work I did there was ceramics with people. This is a version of the report that I gave. The names have been changed. Everything else is true. Report. Paul is planning a cassowary. Colleen lost a pedal. Denise has been banned for bad behaviour. Barbara fired the Tower of Babel. Linda's cricketers came out fine. Dylan's back in jail. Pania's head exploded. Shirley made a horse. Thanks.